Calling our commission meeting for March the 12th to order at 9 a.m. At this time, we'll have the invocation and pledge by our chaplain for the Lynn Haven Police Department, Frank Stevens.
Stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Heavenly Father, the Apostle Paul reminds us to pray for our government when he says, I urge you to offer to God petitions, prayers, intercessions, expressions of thanks for all people, for kings, and for everyone who has authority over you, so that we might lead a quiet and peaceful life with all godliness and dignity. And we thank you for the many blessings that our city has received. And I pray a blessing over the men and women of our city government, the mayor's office, the commissioners, and all the city officials. Protect those who put themselves in harm's way, our law enforcement officers, our firefighters, EMS workers. And I'm so thankful for their service to the citizens of Lynn Haven. I speak blessing over them in the name of Jesus. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This time we'll have our public commentary. Please remember to state your name and address for the record and direct your comments to the chair. Mr. Walker.
Good morning. Rich Walker, 1106 Michigan Avenue. Looks like it's going to be a nice day. A little chilly, but nice day. I was up here a little while ago dealing with public speaking, public commentary, and I just wanted to remark to you two things. 20 years ago, an item hit this commissioners and was handled wrong. This sticks in my throat, and it goes as far as almost attempted murder by one of our police officers to a citizen, and I didn't like it. I just want to remind you that when you exercise your right, that a gentleman in the last commission meeting said, you have the police to use them. That doesn't mean that you have the police to use them incorrectly. Use them joyfully, use them correctly, and give credence to the rights of the citizens. I really think you should think about that when you say or do something to invoke a police action in a commission meeting. One that I'm talking about was drastic. Drastic. It should never have happened. And that's because the mayor and the commissioner at the time used their force incorrectly. Please keep in mind, we have rights, you have rights. We're all Americans and we're all here to have a good meeting. We're here to meet peacefully and see our government. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Ms. Tender.
Judy Tinder. My address is 504 Virginia Avenue. I want to say that I had prepared everything that I was going to say, and this week I was blessed with getting to meet a young man, came in and we talked for about an hour. Hopefully he's going to get elected this coming up election, and I think he has a lot to offer Bay County. But after talking to him, I started looking at things a little bit different. So I changed everything. And this is what I had. Free speech is the backbone of democracy. And free speech affords us the sharing of ideas, thoughts, and procedures to create solutions. As our commissioners, we are asking you to have the courage to display this right that has been given to you because of all the men and women that fight for this right here and abroad. As our soldiers fight for those rights, and some giving the ultimate sacrifice, will you laugh at their efforts, or will you stand up to the current corruption that needs to be slapped down so that our community can be proud of where we live, instead of having to turn the other cheek to all the jokes regarding our Chief of Police, Ricky Ramey? Through his own demonstration, I believe Ricky Ramey laughs at the rights of others and disregards any need for integrity, honesty, or honor. Thank you to all that fight for the rights of free speech. Thank you.
Thank you. Additional public commentary?
Mayor Nelson, Christy McElroy, Porch St. Joe. Mayor Nelson, your policy for public speaking wasn't voted on by this commission, to my knowledge. Mayor Nelson, anyone can call, in the public meeting can call point of order when you stifle comments from this board or from others. You are overreaching your powers as presiding officer. Mayor Nelson, you are one of 5 commissioners. You are the presiding officer, but that does not give you special rights. Chief Ricky Ramey has systematically misused his power and position against women to influence election outcomes and avoid consequences of his actions. 2 women, Ellen Fields and Judy Tender, were among Chief Ramey's targets during their election. Who came out the winner of Chief Ramey's actions and horrible words? Why, Mayor Nelson did. By Mayor Nelson utilizing his position as mayor during the first election and again in the second election as mayor, by protecting Chief Ramey, Mayor Nelson should have recused himself as Chief Ramey publicly attacked Ms. Fields and Ms. Tender. Instead, Mayor Nelson stood firm with Ricky Ramey. Mayor Nelson, it's clear you have a conflict of interest. I would ask you to recuse yourself from any more comments concerning Ricky Ramey. I believe that you and the city manager want to protect him. That is not, I believe, in the best interest of existing police officers or morale or for the panhandle of Florida. I would ask all you commissioners, stand up for yourselves. Use your own conscience. That's what you need to do. That's what the taxpayers need from you. Thank you.
Thank you. Additional public commentary?
Jerry Parker, Rhett Place. Commissioners, I want to direct this to y'all. Don't allow Mayor Nelson, City Attorney, Vicki Gaynor, or anybody else stifle your conscience. Don't let anyone stifle your care and your concern for the taxpayers of Lynn Haven. You have to support the safety of the city of Lynn Haven and the integrity of the city of Lynn Haven. What is at the biggest thing right now is everybody thinks that everything's being covered up. I've spoken to several of the commissioners. I know there are things going on behind the scenes, but Why was the meeting canceled, the pre-commission meeting canceled? Is it because y'all don't want other people? You don't want the commissioners to speak up? You don't want citizens to come and speak? I mean, that was pretty shady. And Ms. Gaynor, I actually did email you. You never did answer me. That was my question. Why was it canceled? I think that the citizens of Bay County are watching what's going on and they don't like it. They don't like the repeated lack of integrity that has been displayed by the chief. It's very apparent that there were things that were done in the past that people ignored, just ignored. Put a one-line sentence in his, as an oral reprimand, not even stating what it was or what it was about. That's pretty lame. I know I've gotten oral reprimands before. It was very detailed. So anyway, I ask you, the commission, to dig deep and do what's right for the people, not for who's up here, but what's right for the people and the taxpayers. Remember, each one of you are one of 5. Y'all have the power. Use it. Don't let people stifle your conscience. Don't let them intimidate you by a fear of a lawsuit. You know how many lawsuits are going on and that are forthcoming? Let them sue. Let them. The evidence is clear. If Ricky Ramey is fired and he gets sued, guess what? The evidence is going to show it very clearly. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Additional public commentary?
Jody Moore from, I'm on Amherst Street in the Beacon of Bay County, Florida. I just have 2 questions for the mayor. Why was the pre-commission meeting canceled? And why isn't the Ricky Ramey issue on the agenda?
Thank you. Additional public commentary?
Good morning. George Hines, 1603 Rhode Island Avenue. I ran for office in the city of Lynn Haven. I also ran for office in Bay County. You represent the whole city of Lynn Haven, not a small group. The small group in Lynn Haven been trying to get rid of Ricky Ramey since he came here. And the same small group is working now. In the Bible, it says, judge not, lest ye be judged. If we judge everyone in this room the same as they want to judge him, some of them wouldn't have a job either. So I say, your job is to do what they said, represent everyone in Lynn Haven. I'm an American fighting man. I did 21 and a half years in the Army. For them to have the right to do what they do, and for me to have the right to speak and say what I want to say. I think the city of Lynn Haven is a great city to be part of. If they don't think so, maybe they need to move. I don't know. I've been here 30 years, so I appreciate what y'all do. You have to make hard decisions. That's the reason you took the job. You don't want to make those decisions. You might want to step down yourself. Thank you.
Thank you. Additional public commentary? This time we'll move on to the mayor's report. I have a proclamation here from the American Red Cross Month. We'll read this and then we'll have a few remarks from the American Red Cross. Whereas during American Red Cross Month in March, we recognize the compassion of people in Lynn Haven and reaffirm our commitment to care for one another in times of crisis. And whereas this generous spirit is woven into the fabric of our community and advances the humanitarian legacy of American Red Cross founder Clara Barton, one of the most honored women in our country's history, who nobly dedicated herself to alleviating suffering. And whereas today, kind-hearted individuals in our community exemplify Barton's commitment as they step up through the American Red Cross Northwest Florida chapter to provide a beacon of hope for our neighbors in need. Through their voluntary and selfless contributions, they make a life-saving difference in people's darkest hours, whether it's delivering shelter, food, and comfort during disasters, providing critical blood donations for hospital patients, supporting military families, veterans, and caregivers through the unique challenges of service, saving lives with first aid, CPR, and other skills, or delivering aid and reconnecting loved ones separated by global crises. And whereas their support, volunteerism, and generous donations are critical to our community's resilience, we hereby recognize this month of March in honor of all those who fulfill Clara Barton's noble words. You must never think of anything except the need and how to meet it, and ask everyone to join in this commitment. And whereas we hereby recognize this month of March in honor of all those who lead with their hearts to serve people in need, and we ask everyone to join in this commitment to strengthen our community. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Jesse Nelson, and the City Commission, by virtue of authority invested in us by the laws of Lynn Haven, Bay County, Florida, do hereby proclaim March 2024 as Red Cross Month, and encourage all the citizens of Lynn Haven to join us in supporting this humanitarian mission.
Thank y'all. We appreciate it. I just want to say one thing if I could, Mr. Mayor. 90% of the force of the, okay, I'm sorry. 90% of the Red Cross are volunteers, 10% are employees. In these 6 counties, which is Washington, Calhoun, Jackson, Bay, Gulf, and Holmes, there's only one employee, me. So if you see me, you know I'm the only. If you see anybody else, please give them a thank you, because they are passionate about what they do, and they give of their time, their talent, and their treasure to serve our community. And I'm very thankful to them just to be the facilitator for them. So thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you. I do want to say thank you to the American Red Cross and the service that you all provide. I know you've partnered with us as a city when we had our tornado that struck last April. Brother Andy was one of the first ones on the scene. Whenever I arrived, he was there. And the warming shelter that's happening in Bay County, American Red Cross is very instrumental in preparing that, along with the other community churches and cities as well. So American Red Cross isn't just a national organization that we see deploying in other areas. They're actually deploying right here in our community when we have needs. So thank you all for your services. Proclamation for Flood Awareness Week. Whereas the city of Lynn Haven, Florida, has experienced severe weather in the past in the form of extreme rainfall or tropical system events, resulting in flooding in West Bay area of Florida. And this flooding has caused damage and flood losses to homes and buildings in all areas, whether they are high-risk special flood hazard areas or low to moderate risk flood zones. And whereas the City of Lynn Haven, Florida is a voluntary participant in the National Flood Insurance Program that provides residents with the opportunity to protect themselves against flood loss through the purchase of flood insurance at reduced insurance premium rates, as well as setting high regulatory standards to reduce the flood risk and potential flood damage to their property. And whereas the reduction of loss of life and property damage can be achieved when appropriate flood preparedness, control, and mitigation measures are taken before a flood. And whereas public education and awareness of potential weather hazards and methods of protection are critical to the health, safety, and welfare of residents, the Florida Floodplain Managers Association have declared the week beginning March 4th, 2024 as Flood Awareness Week to promote awareness and increase knowledge of flood risk, the availability of flood insurance, flood protection methods, and how to prepare for emergencies. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Jesse Nelson, the City Commission, declare Flood Awareness Week beginning March 4th, 2024, and encourage citizens to increase their knowledge of how to protect themselves and their property from flooding. Signed on this day, March the 12th, 2024. Publix Appreciation Day. Whereas George Jenkins opened the first Publix market in Winter Haven, Florida in 1930. Since then, there are now over 1,000 stores across the Southeast United States. Throughout the decades, Publix Supermarket has continued to honor Mr. George's legacy of compassion and service. And whereas during Publix Appreciation Day, we celebrate the employees and corporate leaders of Publix Supermarket for their continued dedication, support, and generous contribution to the United Way of Northwest Florida's community campaign. And whereas throughout 2023, Publix Supermarket at Lynn Haven, Florida, along with the 4 other Publix stores within Bay County, reached the #1 spot as the 2022 highest workplace campaign, pledging more than $223,000, contributing to the United Way's mission of ending world hunger within our own neighborhoods. And whereas Publix employees make up over 50% of the Red Feather leadership givers in Northwest Florida, allowing for United Way to help support and strengthen the local community and providing critical health and human services, boosting education for our youth, and promoting economic mobility. And whereas Publix supermarkets across the United States are consistently conducting charity drives, raising money for food, outstanding charities such as Special Olympics, March of Dimes, Children's Miracle Network, and United Way. Whereas their support, volunteerism, and generous donations are critical to our community's resilience and growth. Now, I, Jesse Nelson, along with the City Commission, proclaim March 15th, 2024 as Publix Appreciation Day, and encourage everyone to join me in thanking Publix Supermarkets for their generosity and for being an outstanding member of our community. Signed this 12th day of March, 2024. All right, I'll have a brief report today. Thank everyone for their comments and the reflections that they provided. I believe all the commissioners heard you and continuing to try to respond to the concerns of our citizens. In regards to some of the questions that were stated, I think one of them was regarding why was the meeting canceled? When we initiated pre-commission meetings, I think it was a little over 2 years ago, well, yeah, 2021, almost 3 years ago now. One of the things we stated was that if we looked at the agenda and thought that we didn't need to meet, then we wouldn't meet. And when we look at this agenda, there's 2 agenda items on here, number 10 and number 11, besides the consent agenda. And so some of our pre-commission meetings in the past, when we have come for 1 or 2 agenda items, is basically a 5 to 10 minute pre-commission meeting and then we're out. And so after looking at the agenda, talked with the city manager and decided that we didn't need to have a pre-commission meeting on Friday. In regards to that, stopping the public from speaking, the public doesn't speak during our pre-commission meetings. They speak during the public meetings. And so not having a pre-commission meeting didn't stop the public from speaking at all on that day. So I believe when we reviewed our pre-commission meetings from 2023, we actually canceled 6 pre-commission meetings from 2023 for various reasons. So no, when we established pre-commission meetings, we didn't say that we would have one every time. And I believe when Commissioner Warwick made the motion for us to have pre-commission meetings, he put the caveat in there that we could, council if needed, or if we saw that it was a light agenda. So, and so that's what we decided to do. In regards to, there was a question regarding public participation and abusing those privileges or putting rules in that are sort of a violation. Actually, our public participation policy is what's actually in our codes and ordinances. And so we drafted this 3 years ago, actually, when we first started. So this isn't a new public participation to try to protect anyone or stifle anyone. This is what we enacted 3 years ago. And 3 years ago, people didn't like it. However, you're asking us to do what's in our codes and ordinances, and then when we do that, then there's an issue with that. So I'm not really sure what certain people want us to do when we're following our own codes and ordinances. Actually, we even talked about there's some things that I didn't do because I didn't want it to seem like we were trying to limit people's public commentary or public participation. So 3 years ago, we did not put in the fact that we need to have sign-ins, which is in our codes and ordinances, that we should have a sign-in for public commentary. But we didn't do that. And I talked to the city manager and city attorney and said, well, I don't want people to feel like we're trying to stop them from actually speaking if they're not signed in. Now, recently, as a commission, we have discussed having a sign-in sheet and we're going to begin that at the next commission meeting. We wanted to give ample time for people to know, so we've announced it during the month of February, and so beginning at our next meeting, we will have a sign-in sheet. That way we can better identify who's speaking in our public commentary. Not to stifle anyone from speaking, and not saying that if you don't sign in, you can't speak, but it allows us to have a little more order and decorum, especially when there's new people coming to speak and I don't know who they are. So some of you are regulars, and I do know who you are, and there are some people that I just have to point and say, hey, the guy in the blue hat, or there's people I overlook that sometimes the city manager or other commissioners have to identify, or, other members from the audience have to identify, because I don't always see everyone who raises their hands. So that is something that the commission discussed. If you didn't hear the discussion, go back and listen to our pre-commission meetings about our discussion on actually adding a sign-in sheet, better record keeping, that way we can follow up with citizens on their various issues, and then just sort of a better lineup as we address our public commentary issues. In regards to our Chief of Police, do have a brief update, would like to provide on that. The city has conducted a preliminary inquiry and confirmed that Chief Ramey was off duty and that the incident under investigation did not involve any city vehicles or equipment. The incident was investigated by the Florida Highway Patrol and is currently under review by the state attorney of the First Judicial Circuit. The city manager and Ms. Hodges, our HR director and assistant city manager, have been actively monitoring the status of the third-party investigation and have been in frequent contact with our city attorney and with our city's HR or labor attorney to ensure the interests of the city, the Lynn Haven community, and the employee are all protected. Based on the legal advice of counsel, it would be inappropriate to take any action that could interfere with patrol or state attorney's investigation, or that could be construed as an effort to guide the outcome of this decision. It would be inappropriate to take any personnel action based on rumors, speculation, social media posts, or other unsubstantiated information. However, once the state attorney review is completed, the city is prepared to take whatever personnel action is appropriate based on the facts. I know on last week, I believe it was on Thursday, the city manager and I did have a very in-depth conversation about some actions that could be taken at this moment in regards to our police chief, Chief Ricky Ramey. Also talked to our city attorney about what we could do. I've talked to HR about what we could do extensively, had an hour-and-a-half meeting with HR about what can we do. And I provided several options, some of it based on what the public has demanded, some of it based on what I've seen in other cities. Also talked to our HR attorney about the various options of what we could do to take action at this moment, that we shouldn't have to wait, that maybe we could take some action. And after talking to all of those individuals, we all concluded that whatever personnel action we take, that we base it on the facts and that we wait until the criminal case is concluded, therefore to give us a better direction of what we need to do in regards to Chief Ricky Ramey. And so I encourage the city manager that, some action needs to be taken. To what extent, I'm not sure what that will look like at this point, and I don't think any of us know. It depends on the outcome of the case. So we are, again, monitoring this very closely and not ignoring it, not sweeping it under the rug. But again, as I stated in the last commission meeting, we're treating Ricky Ramey, Chief Ricky Ramey, as we would any other citizen, or should treat any other citizen, and that's with due process. So that is my report for today. Commissioner Peebles.
Thank you, Mayor. In the past few weeks, I talked to Ron Sharp, who's over at the Ark of the Bay, and he wanted me to let everyone know that right now they're currently offering free tax services on Wednesdays. So anyone that wants help with their taxes, get in contact with the Ark of the Bay if you need help with your taxes. I think it's a great program. They've already surpassed the amount of people that they've helped this year from last year. So it sounds like they're doing a great job. If you need help with your taxes as we get closer to April, highly encourage you to do so. definitely don't want to be stressed out when it comes to taxes. I also talked with Chris Motes, who is over Toys for Kids. I don't know if any of you are familiar, but they do great work. It's 100% nonprofit, and they've done great things over the years. Toys for Kids has been around for 30 years now. And I sat down with him, and he talked with me about things, and he really wants to partner with the city of Lynn Haven. I helped get him in contact with the city manager, and so I'm looking forward to see what type of partnerships can happen there. I think it's a great thing. Toys for Kids Foundation is a great foundation. I also had, obviously, some talking about the situation with Chief Ramey. I've obviously talked to a bunch of citizens about it and listened to their concerns. We finally did receive some information from Florida Highway Patrol as far as the public records request was forwarded to us. It looks like a pretrial date is set for April 11th, I believe, according to the clerk of court. Also decided to seek some private legal counsel on the matter, to help better give me an understanding of how to handle all of this. And what I determined is that as a commission, we are allowed to discuss and make recommendations about the situation. So I just want to encourage all of you up here that say what you got to say, how you feel, and we'll go from there. I do wish we would have had a pre-commission meeting, honestly, about this. I understand that the agenda was light, but I really like the pre-commission meetings because at the end, we have that time where now that the agenda is over, we have that time to really just talk about whatever. And I feel like it would have been a good time to do that, but I just wanted to make that comment, and that's all I have for now.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Perno?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to thank everybody for their emails and their comments regarding our police chief. I would like to just reassure everybody that things are going to happen in due time, and we'll just let the city manager do her job. Let me be clear. I don't support or not support anybody else's opinions. I'm just going to stay with what the council has recommended, and based on the outcome, I know there'll be action. So, and I look forward to what that action will be, as you do. With that, spring ahead happened, and days are getting longer. Daylight is a good thing. I really felt good in the last couple of days. I don't know what it is about the time change the other way, but it messes with my head. And I'm glad to see that the days are sunny and longer. And we just need to be safer in the morning when it's a little darker and the kids are out there. So to be cognizant both ways. And it's a good sign that days are getting longer because Concerts in the Park starts Friday. And it's going to start with True Soul, I believe, right? And they're usually the ones that go last, so we're putting the best foot forward, I guess. But those are always a good time, and look forward to the food trucks. It's a good gathering usually when everybody gets together in Sheffield Park. I'm glad that we're taking a look at James A. Rogers Park in Bel Air neighborhood. It's been a long time coming, and I know we got a couple emails on that, so I'm thankful that we have the diagram and we're looking at funding and getting a good project going for the citizens of Lynn Haven. I'd like to thank all the department heads and all the city of Lynn Haven employees, all our first responders, and our dispatchers. I appreciate what y'all do. I know this is the time of year when we do concerts in the park, who's doing the extra work? It's our employees, our department heads, our people are manning the boat over and above, and it's appreciated. So with that, I'll express my gratitude and say thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Ward.
So the only thing I have is on 23 March, I'll have my time with the commissioner. I have once a month at Taco's Way at 11:30. But I did want to address something. Earlier this week, I asked for something to be on the agenda, and it's not put on there, and I was given a reason why, but how do I get something on the agenda? The way I understand it, this is what was told to me, was you, the mayor, had a conversation with the city attorney, and it was advised not to put it on there. And you made the decision not to have it on there.
Correct.
So how do I get something added to the agenda?
Depends on what that something is. So
I want to add it to the agenda.
what are you trying to add to the agenda?
The exact one I gave you, the discussion about the situation with Ricky Ramey and his future employment with the city.
You can make a motion to have it.
I make a motion to add it.
Is there a second?
I'll second with a purpose for discussion.
All right, there's a motion and there's a second to add discussion regarding Ricky Ramey's employment with the city of Lynn Haven. City public commentary.
Thank you, Commissioner Ward. Thank you, Commissioner Peoples. Although I don't live in your city, I grew up here, graduated from Mosley in 1980. I care about this area. It's important. It's important that this area be a leader in addressing things that have to do with police or law enforcement or state attorneys. It's important. You can certainly either put it on the agenda or call a special meeting. And Mr. Obos, you know that they have the right to do that. And you should honor their right because you represent this entire council. They're the ones that vote you and your firm to represent them. You can call a special meeting.
Additional public commentary.
Anymore again. I just want to say something. I don't hate anybody. I don't hate anybody up here. I really don't. I pray for the city. Even though I also don't live in the city limits, I'm surrounded by the city of Lynn Haven. I've been coming to these meetings since Mayor Kelly was mayor. And I've been very involved in the city of Lynn Haven, as I've said before, okay? And regarding Ricky Ramey, I don't hate him either. I feel terrible for him that he's going through this. We all make mistakes. There was a comment earlier about judge not, lest ye be judged. There's forgiveness, but there have to be consequences for your actions when you do something wrong. And I personally would say, yes, this happened when he was off duty at a bar at 3:30 in the morning. I think when you're chief of police, you're always on duty, and you always have to set an example for others. And I don't think he did that. And this is not the first time that he has transgressed, okay? If this was the first time he'd ever done something like this or, done something wrong, okay, everybody makes mistakes. We can move on. But you really need to think about the person that's in charge of the police department of this city that carries a gun and has the power to arrest people and take their liberty from them. You really need to think about who you have in charge.
Thank you. Additional comments? Mr. Walker?
And Rich Walker, 1106 Michigan Avenue. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Warwick. It's about time. About time. What I said before about citizens having rights, you have rights too. About time you started speaking up. A long time ago, a man named Robitaille, who's passed away, said it. What you normally say up there on that stand might not be the truth, but I've never heard anybody object and they've heard something wrong, say something. It's about time. And Commissioner Warwick, Commissioner Peebles, thank you. Thank you very much.
Additional comments?
Terry Parker, Red Place. I heard Mr. Hines say that we've been trying to get rid of Ricky Ramey for a long time. That's totally untrue. When the Lynn Haven corruption case became about, that's when we started getting involved. I never went to a commission meeting prior to the hurricane, ever. I have lived here since 2002. I came here because I had problems with my contractor. That was my first experience with a commission in this city ever. If this was Chief Ramey's only offense, I'd give him some grace, but it's not. It's not, people. The evidence is clear. The election interference, the vulgar text that were in federal court that are proof. That's not my opinion. That's proof. And anybody that wants to see them, I have them. I have the text messages. I have the pictures. They were given as evidence in a court case, and it's called the Lynn Haven corruption case, not Tallahassee. It might be happening in Tallahassee, but it's called the Lynn Haven corruption case. That involves us, the city. Commissioner Warwick, I appreciate your fortitude today. Commissioner Peebles, I thank you for standing up and doing what's right for the people. And Mayor Nelson, you are one of 5. This is not a strong mayor commission. I want you to remember that, because you're acting like it's a strong mayor, and it's not. So I ask you again, everybody to vote with their confidence and their conscience. Thank you.
Additional comments? Yes, ma'am.
Morning, Joyce Smith, 3020 Meadow Street, Lynn Haven. I try not to say anything, but I wanted to tell you and to ask you, be strong and courageous. Be strong and courageous. I feel so much better now when they make their comments and everything. Give me a reason to stay closer to God. Be encouraged. And I thank you for being quiet and living what you preach. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you for those that say good things and bad. You know where your help comes from. And so be strong, courageous, stay prayerful. And we pray for those that we pray for. Blessings to all of you. And I appreciate what you all are doing.
Thank you. Additional comments?
Times my name has been invoked, so I will speak again. In the good book of the Bible, it tells you how to live your life. Some people read it, and then they do the opposite. God said, vengeance is mine, said the Lord. All of you are individuals. All of you have your own mindset, and God gave you the free will to think and act as you do. I said that some people want to get rid of the mayor. Get rid of Chief Ramey. That was a fact. That wasn't a statement. I talked to them when I ran for office. They talked to me when I ran for office. Some of them hate me because of who I am. That's the way life is. I've been that way all my life. I only told the truth, and I will tell the truth. Raymond's a good guy. Everybody make mistakes. Judge not like you be judged. That's what I said, and that's what I meant. So you can have a special meeting. You can have a trial if you like to. But everyone have to bring in their own witnesses and fight this thing out the way it should be done. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you. Scray.
Ryan Scray. For clarity and record-keeping purposes, can the actual motion be stated? I didn't hear it very well.
The motion is to add a discussion regarding Chief Ramey's future employment in the city of Lynn Haven.
Okay. So this vote would be just to add the agenda item?
Correct.
Would that agenda item be in today's meeting?
Yes, that's what we're doing now.
Okay, so if this passes, the agenda item is added, and then there will be an additional discussion. Will this agenda item be after the other two agenda items?
Correct.
Okay, thank you for the clarity.
Additional comments? Yes, sir.
John Hinkie, 515 Missouri Avenue. Case strikes me kind of close. I used to be a state correctional officer. Put myself in Ricky Ramey's shoes. If I did that as a correctional officer, I can guarantee that once I got out of the county jail without my driver's license, a few $1,000s, my warden would call me up. Come out here, I want to talk to you. We got done, I'd be out of a job, I'd be out of a pension. That's the law here as regards law enforcement officers. When it comes to the law, you got two options. You can obey it or disobey it. I don't know Ricky Ramey. I have no opinion of the man. I'm telling you, if I was in his spot, that's what would happen to me.
All right, thank you. Additional comments? All right, City Manager, you call the vote.
Commissioner Ward?
Yes.
Commissioner Peebles?
Yes.
Commissioner Vandegrift?
No.
Commissioner Perno? Mayor Wilson?
No. All right, at this time, we'll have our city manager's report. Oh, I'm sorry. Commissioner Vandegrift.
I don't have a report. I think enough's been said.
Thank you. City Manager.
Mayor, just a couple of things. Currently, we're still doing radio read, and you will see a lot of our folks out in around the city replacing those with the radio read meters. They're more accurate, and they'll give you real-time information. So I know a lot of people have been calling and saying, hey, my bill is up, or it seems to be going down. It's because those radio reads are very, very accurate. We have put a plan in place that we are going to replace 2,500 radio reads per year. That will include the entire city. That will help us read faster, more accurate information. So you will see a lot of those around. In my leadership meeting, we also talked about having an amnesty day for the city of Lynn Haven, which that has happened in the past, but Hurricane Michael came along and so many other things came along. We haven't been able to do that. So there will be an amnesty day in April, and we're still just talking through it. I think the citizens will enjoy that. The first e-sport is March 16th. We have 24 kids signed up for that. As you know, we had to cancel opening day, but opening day will be this Saturday at 9 a.m. as we have done it before. The city is also pursuing a grant opportunity with Gulf Coast Triumph. Had the pleasure of talking to Mr. David Baer, who's the chairman of the board at the Northwest Florida Symposium. He was actually on the symposium stage, gave a lot of good information as to how to apply for this grant, large amount of monies, so that we can finish the Headworks project, and that's what we're going to be going after. So we're pretty excited about that. And then reminder that we are partnering with the Major League Baseball, the Alumni Association. We're going to be running a camp on the 27th of April. More word to come on that. And also next month, Mayor, we will bring to you a resolution for Arbor Day. That's my report.
Thank you. Also have the warrant list.
Sorry, the warrant list.
Good morning. Are there any questions on the warrant list?
I have a question from the detailed account. I noticed that there were some FEMA equipment expenditures. What's that? I'm not sure. It's on several places throughout the budget. That FEMA equipment, FEMA expenditures. Are we still paying for things that we rented?
Yes, and so anything to have to do with rebuild, we capture it in the 101 account. And so that is what we will submit to have reimbursement. So we put it all in the 101 account. Some of it will be reimbursed when we hit that ceiling, but that's where it's coded to. You're exactly right.
Yeah, each payable run, there's FEMA monies identified, and I move it to the appropriate place.
Yeah, I noticed it was in several locations. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, City Attorney.
Yeah, I mean, just very brief to follow up on the procedural stuff we've talked about today. Obviously, and more to Commissioner Warwick, I think our codes and procedures are pretty lacking as far as who can add an agenda item. It's different in different cities. Ours is pretty silent. Obviously, the city manager puts the agenda together, and then you've got the chairman of the board. So in this case, it depends on what board you are, but here would be the mayor. But procedurally, I think today is how it would happen. Any member can vote or make a motion to add or remove or alter an agenda item. And so basically, I think the answer would be city manager, mayor, or 3 or more commissioners are the ones that could add or delete something from the agenda, which is really consistent with the special meetings. We talked about special meetings, and that actually is clear in our code where the mayor can call a special meeting, city manager can call one, or 3 or more commissioners can call one. So just procedurally, I wanted to kind of get that out there. I mean, that may be something we want to look at. I know in Callaway, I think any commissioner can add an agenda item, and so we have meetings that have discussion item by so-and-so that get added on there, and they kind of drag on because there's no sort of rules in place. You can just, those agendas can get pretty long, but that is probably lacking in certainly in our code and our charter. But by default, it would be the chairman, the city manager, or 3 or more commissioners.
I mean, we've done that multiple times in the past. Any of us go to the city manager and we say, we want this added to the agenda, and it gets added. So what makes it right for the mayor to say this does not get added on the agenda? Any one of us, no matter if we disagree with it or not, it should be added to the agenda. Period. I mean, I don't understand that.
Yep.
I mean, if you disagree with it, don't want it on there, no matter how, I don't care. It needs to be added to the agenda.
Calm down, sir. I'm not yelling at you. Calm down.
Yeah, but I mean, no, I'm getting strong-armed here.
Calm down.
No, I'm not going to calm down. I'm getting strong-armed here.
You're trying to strong-arm the commissioner. You're trying to strong.
You're the one that told me not to. You're the one that stopped it from being on the agenda.
I did.
And that's not right. Any one of us should be able to add it to the agenda.
And we just voted on it, and it wasn't added.
No.
We just voted on it, and it
So anytime we add something to the agenda, it needs to be voted on? No. Plenty of times, we've added stuff to the agenda and had it added to it. You know that's the truth.
You okay, Commissioner Ward?
No. No, I'm not.
Anything
I'm not
else
okay.
you want to say?
What?
Anything else you want to say?
Yeah, I want it. So how do I add something to the agenda? From now on, do we have to have a vote of 3?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. So what in the code makes you the approving official to whether something gets added to the agenda or not?
The attorney just referenced
As the chairman of the board, whatever board it is, they're going to be the ones that run the meeting and run the agenda. City manager could put it down there. Otherwise, yeah, 3 or more would be able to add or delete.
So although you don't realize it, Every time y'all requested to add something to the agenda, the city manager lets me know, and I either approve it or disapprove it. So it's not that everything you requested is always added. There's been things that Commissioner Aldridge wanted added to the agenda, and I told the city manager, no, we're not going to add that. There's things Commissioner Perno has asked to add to the agenda. I tell the city manager, no, and we don't add that. The difference is that they understand why we didn't add it, and they're not happy about it. Commissioner Perno will call city manager, and city manager let me know, hey, Commissioner Perno called. And I'm not trying to put him out on front, but it's letting the public know you're not the only one that's asked for one thing that hasn't been added. He's asked for several things in the past 3 years to be added to the agenda. And I've said, no, let's discuss that privately with the city manager. Let's discuss it with the city attorney. Let's discuss that off record. So let's discuss that differently. So it's not just because this is a Ricky Ramey situation that I'm not trying to add this to the agenda or strong arm you or stifle you. We take discretion at what we add and what we don't add. So there have been several items over the past 3 years that have not been added. When Commissioner Tender was on the commission, she made requests for things to be added to the agenda. I see all the agendas before they go out. City manager and I discuss the agenda, we build the agenda, and then I say, yes, let's add this, no, let's not add that. So this may be the first time that your request has been denied, but every commissioner on the past commission made requests, and I denied those to be part of the agenda if I thought it would be something that was not pertaining to the meeting that we're having at hand.
So again, what specifically states that?
The city attorney just mentioned to you. And
Well, I must have missed it. I want to know what specifically states that.
I just made clear that our charter and our codes are lacking, and so what you do, you go to the chairman of the meeting, runs the meeting, runs the agenda. The city manager, obviously, that's her job, is to put the things on there. Beyond that, it would be 3 or more commissioners, just like calling a special meeting.
So nothing specifically states it.
That's what I said. We need to, it's
nothing
lacking.
specifically states that he can stop something from being added.
But we just had a vote and.
No, but that's not my question. My question is, there's nothing that specifically states he cannot add something to the agenda that was requested by a commissioner.
And there's nothing that specifically states that you can add anything to the agenda.
Right.
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 You just proved your point.
But how can we legislate? How can we legislate if we can't add stuff to the agenda? We cannot effectively legislate if we can't add
I didn't
stuff
say
to the
that you
agenda.
couldn't add stuff to the agenda, Commissioner Ward.
What's that?
We didn't say you couldn't add stuff to the agenda. Have there been things that you've requested that's been put on the agenda?
Every time. Every time I've requested something, it's always been on the agenda.
Okay.
But again, how can we effectively legislate if we can't add stuff to the agenda?
It depends on what you consider to be effective.
Well,
and when you say we, it needs to be, I mean, again, the majority, 3 or more. So assume it had been on the agenda, then somebody makes a motion to remove the item, and it's 3-2 that way.
We'll take care of it the next meeting.
Anything else you'd like to say, Commissioner Ward? All right, moving on to our consent agenda. Approval of minutes for 2/27, regular meeting minutes. Approval to declare trucks 35, 36, 46, 94, 96, and 97 as surplus and authorize staff to auction off and use the proceeds to purchase a 7-yard non-CDL dump truck. Is there a motion for this agenda?
Second.
All right, motion by Commissioner Vandergrift, second by Commissioner Perno. City Manager, if you call the vote.
Commissioner Vandergrift? Yes. Commissioner Perno?
Yes.
Commissioner Peebles?
Yes.
Commissioner Ward?
Yes.
Mayor Nelson?
Yes, motion passed. New business, discussion and possible approval to award the hazard mitigation grant program generator project to the lowest bidder, Bill Smith Electric, in the amount of $398,757. Mr. Lightfoot.
Good morning. As you all may recall, we bid this project out actually last August. It did come in over budget from the HMGP grant that was approved back in 2019. It took this time to get FEMA and DEM and DOC to approve the budget increase. That has all now been approved, and we can now award it to Bill Smith Electric.
Are there any questions for Mr. Lightfoot? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, any comments from the public? City Manager, you call the vote?
Commissioner Perno?
Yes.
Commissioner Vandegrift?
Yes.
Commissioner Peebles?
Yes.
Commissioner Warwick?
Yes.
Mayor Nelson?
Yes, motion passed. Discussion and possible approval to move forward with an RFP for construction services to rebuild James E. Rogers Park.
Good morning. I'd like to ask for your approval for us to move forward with an RFP to advertise for construction services for the rebuild of the park.
And so it's clear for the public, we are not beginning construction of the park.
No, sir. This is for advertising, for putting it out to bid.
Okay.
We are currently probably at 95% completion on the design, so we are not far from being ready to actually advertise.
Got it. And Commissioner Perno did reference some emails that we had received. Would you like to address that now, Commissioner Perno?
Yeah, I would just like to make sure that if City Manager, I don't know if you were copied on the emails, I'll forward them to you.
Okay.
So is it possible to reply to the emails with this diagram, with what we have in front of us? Because I honestly believe what that person asked for in her email would answer every question.
Sure, sure. And we can definitely do that. And
And I
I
think-
probably will address that, Commissioner Perno.
Yeah.
We met with them, the entire neighborhood, 3 times. The great thing we have is Tyler notified that it specifically notifies that neighborhood that we're going to meet on site. And she may have not, or whoever it was, may have not been able to come. So I will make sure that they get that information.
Commissioner Perno, was that the same email that you forwarded to me last week?
It may have been, I'm searching through right now to try to find it.
I sent her that same copy the same day I received your email.
Now, I received one, we did receive one yesterday as well.
I think it was yesterday, yeah.
Yeah. But as Commissioner Perno stated, that the questions that she's asking, she's excited. Well, first of all, she says, I'm excited about it. And she just had some questions as a parent. But as we look at the diagram, most of these things are actually covered within that diagram. For example, she asked about, is there a fence place for dogs? Is there a covered area for parents to sit? Things of that nature.
I haven't seen that email.
No, we
Okay, so Commissioner Perno, if you'll make sure to forward that to the city manager, and if y'all would.
She also mentioned about the ditches.
Right, so there is a fence around there for the ditches, yeah, on the diagram. So yeah, she did ask a lot of questions, and as Commissioner Perno stated, and what Ms. Vandegrift just mentioned, and what Commissioner Vandegrift just mentioned, that yeah, there are, some of it is plainly seen in the diagram, and some of it isn't. So if you could just
Certainly, I can
follow up with her.
I just forwarded it to City Manager.
Thank you. We will make sure we get all of those answers.
Her main concerns were the deep ditches outside of the perimeter of the park. So how
safety
we're gonna,
standpoint,
yep,
absolutely.
Yep. And she requested a walkway around, which is great.
And there is one on there.
Yep. So as much as we could fortify to keep kids away from straying toward the ditches, I guess. So that would answer her email. But when I looked at the diagram, it looked like it answered everything to me, and it looks like a great amenity for the neighborhood. It really is.
And I'll be happy, unless City Manager, you would like to, I'll be happy to address every one of those issues. I'll forward it to the City Manager and let you indeed.
Absolutely.
I talk to a lot of people who say how they used to use that park, and it'll be nice to see it revived. A lot of people played a lot of pickup basketball there.
They do.
You know.
It was refreshing, though, to see the residents come out. They had a chance to look at exactly what you're looking at and ask, it was our last call, do you want any changes to it? Do you want their parents there with their kids? Hey, will our kids be able to play and be safe? And so it was very refreshing to see so many residents that came out and gave their opinion, and then we could get those things that they wanted into this preliminary planning. So we're pretty excited about it. Just before Ty finishes up, this is a parks project under parks for FEMA. It's a 428, so they clumped all of the parks projects together. There's about $1.2 million left on the parks project. This is where this is going to come from.
So this is coming from FEMA, essentially?
Yes.
Sweet.
We have not spent all the money with parks.
Is this bottom left there, is that a retention pond?
That is indeed a retention pond. This is probably our final park project as part of the rebuild.
That's
And I
correct.
think one of the reasons this was pushed a little further back was because of the construction that was going on 390. As you know, that neighborhood is typically floods. We didn't want to build this park and not have 390 be effective to control some of the flooding, so we held off in the event we could make sure it works. Otherwise, we may have to utilize a greater portion of that property for retention to help alleviate flooding. So it appears that the flooding has been minimized, so we'd like to move forward, but we're also adding some additional stormwater capture there. I think it'll help the neighborhood.
Awesome.
That's great, because some residents just wanted it to be a big stormwater retention pond as well. So I'm glad you're able to do both, to help retain some water as well as to help beautify it so that our families can get out and enjoy the park. And I see we have the pickleball courts there for everyone to get out and enjoy those as well.
One of the things that the neighbors were adamant about is very minimal parking. They didn't want this to turn into a pickleball central where, you know, there's 13 or 14 cars out there. They wanted to walk to the park. They wanted bicycles or golf carts. So they wanted to truly be a neighborhood, a Bel Air Estate neighborhood park.
And that really is one of our enduring neighborhoods. You don't have a lot of homes for sale in that area.
Correct.
So you have a lot of people that have been there for many years. That I think this is Mayor Kelly, you know, former Mayor Kelly lives in Bel Air Estate. So I'm sure it's going to be something that that him and all of his neighbors get a chance to enjoy. Is there a motion for this?
I'd like to motion to approve.
I'll second.
All right, is there comments from the public? Motion by Commissioner Perno, second by Commissioner Peebles. City Manager, will call the vote.
Commissioner Perno?
Yes.
Commissioner Peebles?
Yes.
Commissioner Warwick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vandegrift?
Yes.
Mayor Nelson?
Yes, motion passed. Meeting adjourned.